Another terrific job that I was brought in on. Interesting story behind that. A good friend of mine, Mark Winkleman, of the downtown group. He's no longer with them, but he was at the time, and brought me in, or recommended me to the client a good 10 years after he had done this space. And he had taken this two-story loft space in Tribeca and done the most beautiful job with it. He had curved a ceiling up. Again, we have 20-foot ceilings. He had taken the ceiling and curved it up, creating a beautiful, beautiful sculpture within the space. And he had found they had enclosed the space over the kitchen, which was on the ground floor, with nothing. It was just boxed in, and they cut a little hole and stuck their head in, and it's just blank space. So he opened that up and made that into a library and office space overlooking the main loft space. And on my website, you can see looking down into the space. So when I walked in, and he had canted the wall to the kitchen so that it was diagonal and made it a special color, and worked that against the columns that existed in the space. So when I inherited this job 10 years later, they had had it rented. They were living in London. All the color had been taken out because the real estate people said, make it white. So I was charged with putting it back, and also now filling it with brand new furniture. And this was a wonderful client with great eye, and very involved in the design, and particularly the design of the furniture. Most of the furniture was custom made, not the dining table, but the living room furniture. And it was just color, and put back some blue on these columns and make it work. The kitchen, at the time that they had done it 10 years ago, they just simply took the cabinets that were put in by the builder and reconfigured them and put in a new counter. They were falling apart, and it was time, so we added just new fronts in this beautiful, I believe, Anna Gray wood again. I seem to like Anna Gray wood. And we had a slate floor that had a lot of green in it. The countertops had a lot of green in it. But a different color of green, and then I happened to find this glass backsplash that had all the greens in it, and then some, and so suddenly the whole place became married together. In the living room, we took that idea of the mosaic that was in the backsplash of the countertops of the kitchen, and brought that onto the rug of the living room floor, which is all silk. And it's a checkerboard, but random checkerboard, very colorful rug. Made the sofa neutral. They have a lot of parties in this space, and so this space was so huge, but we needed to create an intimacy within the space and yet leave it open for these massive parties that they would have. So we took the fireplace and centered the sofa on the fireplace. A large sofa, huge sofa, giant sofa, but walking in, you can sit on that sofa, and that's all you feel is that space. You don't feel like you're in this big giant cavern. The other thing I did was the fireplace that had been put in. The builder had put in this very strange, highly traditional colonial fireplace surround, which A, was out of scale for the room, and B, totally weird. So I came in, and the architect, along with the client, had created, with this curved ceiling, they had created a curved railing on top of the balcony wall. And so I took that curve and brought it into the fireplace surround, and we made the stone go across this wall, which now looked in proportion to the room. And then the hearth, we did the curve in the hearth, which emulated the curve in this railing. So that's how I go in. That's an example of how when I go into a space, I see what's there, and I work with that. I don't contradict it. It's there, and let's exploit it. Let's make it work. And so just doing that curved hearth again, now in scale to the room, really made that room work. And fantastic client, and we're still friends to this day. It's great.